Yeah. Oh, it didn't. Yeah. Hello, everybody. And Sandra Graves here, and welcome to Single Mom Today. So, if you are a single mom, just come right here on this channel and tell your story, or perhaps you don't have to tell your story. Maybe you can share a lesson, something that you have learned. And if you're not a single mom, and you were, or you're an expert that speak to single mom, then come and talk to us, because it's all about learning from each other. You know, we cannot do it alone. Okay. The reality is that we don't. We want to imagine that we do, but we don't. And I was a single mom twice, so I know what I'm talking about, even if I'm not a single mom now. And that's the reason why the show is here, so that we can continue to grow, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And with that said, just all you have to do is send us an email to info@singlemom.today, info@singlemom.today. And today I have Taquila Coleman. I know the name. Just like her name is Taquila, my name is Graves. So you see, it is what it is, and it's beautiful. So today we're going to talk about the absent father. And really, like most of you will be like, who cares, right? But the reality is that we don't think that it matters, but everything matters when it concerns to your kids. It matters. So let's get an introduction from Taquila, and then we are going to get into the conversation. So go ahead. Tell us about you.
All right. Well, thank you again for having me on. Again, I am Taquila Coleman. I'm a best-selling author, empowerment speaker, and the founder of Successful Single Mother. I do have 3 children, and I teach, just based off of my life and the things I experienced in my life and have overcome. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, and I'm ready.
Let's get this party started, right? So where do we start now? Where do we start? This is your show. You said you were the empowerment speaker. You said you are the best-selling author. You said so. Now let's start this. Take over. It's all yours.
Okay, great. All right. So when we talk about, like how to have that conversation with your child about their absent father, I have 3 tips, just to help drive that conversation with your children. Now, let me just start off just by saying, I had to have this conversation with my second son when he was 3 years old. It caught me off guard, okay? I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready for that conversation, but, it flowed, through me. And so based upon how that conversation went with my son, is where I came up with these tips I'm going to share with you. So the first tip, when we talk about how to talk to your...
But before you share the tip, why did you feel that it was valuable to come up with these tips now? What went wrong or what went well in that conversation?
Yeah, because, I empower single mothers, and this is one of the challenges they are having right now. They don't know how to answer their child when they run up to them and they say, Mom, where's Dad? They don't really know how to go about answering that for their children. They hurt for their child. Some of them lie, to their children about their father, which turns around to, not be in the child's best interest. So I came up with these tips because, for one, I was in that situation. But I believe I kind of was prepared for it before it happened. And when you go through these tips and go through this process, having this conversation with your child about their absent father, it's an easy conversation once you implement the tips, I'm going to share.
Okay, let's go.
All right. So tip number 1, the very first thing you want to do before you even attempt to have this conversation with your child about their absent father is you want to make sure that you have healed from that situation. I speak to single mothers who were abandoned during pregnancy, right? So if that is you in this situation, you want to make sure you have taken out the time to heal, deal with that abandonment, have gotten a level of clarity and understanding behind why the father left, okay? Because if you overlook the healing process and you immediately jump into trying to have this conversation with your child about their absent father, you might start bleeding over the child. You might start bashing their father. You might tell the child too much information, right? And so it's very important for us to really take into consideration this healing process, and just making sure we have done that inner healing work and we are ready and prepared to have that conversation with our child about their absent father.
But if the child come and ask the question to the mom and she haven't healed yet, how she answer?
That's great. That's a good question, because that was what happened to me when my son ran up to me. I actually did go through that healing process, but what she can do if her child runs up to her and asks her, "Mom, where's my father?" Number one, the first thing you want to take into consideration is that child's age, right? Because based upon your child's age, that's going to help guide you in how much information to share with that child.
Yes.
My child was 3. So I couldn't go into full details, right? I gave him the answer he asked me. He said, "Mom, where's my dad?" I kneeled down to him at eye level and I said, "Your dad lives out of state." He said, "Okay," and he ran off. So that was an easy conversation.
That one save you.
Right. That was an easy conversation, Now, if you have a 14-year-old, that's going to be, it's kind of going to be a tough conversation if you haven't healed, if you haven't went through that healing process. But again,
Mom, where's your dad? He's out of state. What state?
right, right. Yeah, so that's why it goes back to number one. You cannot miss these steps. You have to take the time out. Like when you really understand why absent fathers leave and abandon their children, it takes the pressure off of the mom feeling like it's something she's done or feeling guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's my main focus, is giving the understanding, the clarity behind why the father left, so that having this conversation with your child is an easy conversation to have. You don't have to go in lying or feeling, like sad or hurt for your child when you understand why the father left. Okay.
Okay, that is good. But I did get a giggle out of that one. Because that is, I know that when I was a single mom, what I used to do when my son was little, I used to actually send him cards from his dad. And, especially during the times of school, I used to send cards, send it in the mail and put the dad name on it. And, if it's birthday or something like that, I will send that. But that was a period of time where he really didn't know anything about that stuff. And that I can tell you, it did help me and my relationship with my kid. I didn't have to lie about the dad, but I compensated for the emotional part of it so once he got those little notes in the mail, he never asked me questions.
Oh, okay.
He never asked me a question. He would be like, "Oh, I got a birthday card. Oh, I got a this. Cool. $1 in it or $5 in it. That's it." He was happy. He went and played, never asked questions until when he got older. So that's how I fixed that one while it was it worked out for me. I don't say everybody needs to do that, but it worked out for me because I understood my situation. And I understood that he was not going to be ready and responsible, but there was no way for me to feel bad for him or accuse him, because I knew that anything bad I said to my son about him will affect my child. And that's what a lot of women don't think about. Whatever you tell your kid, your dad is no good, your dad is garbage, your dad is dumb, your dad is whatever, they think about that and they compare themselves with their dad and they become that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. And just going back to something you said, because I did the same thing with my daughter, when her father was absent from her life, I would show her pictures of him and just talk about him, and not knowing I was getting her hopes up, right? And when she met her father, after meeting her father and just seeing how he became very inconsistent, in her life, and that taught me a lesson, don't even feed the false hope, because I don't know how he's going to show up.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
have to move into that space of protecting my child and their feelings. And that goes along with that healing, just doing your own inner healing work.
Yeah, because it is true, when my son met with his father years ago, years later when he was like teenager, stuff like that, and he met him at an event or something like that, and he was just like, this is not the same person. When he put it together, he was like, he never sent me no cards. He never did none of that. So at that point, when he figured it out, he was already older, and I mean, he never blamed me for it nor anything like that. But we actually laughed about it, because he came back asking me a question. I says, what did you figure out? What was your conclusion? But he didn't get, your father is this, your father, he didn't get that from me. Those are things that they have to learn on their own, if they have to learn it. But it's not something that I felt that I should be telling my son, your dad is no good, your dad is all that kind of stuff, because it wasn't. So you see, later he figured it out all by himself, and I didn't have to tell him anything about it. And he laughed, and actually he did it, said thank you. So it works out for us. I'm not saying it's going to work out for you. I'm saying it worked out for me. So,
and you know what else? The reason why I can only speak for the boys. The reason why boys, when they get a little older in age, when they come back and ask the mother, about their father, the reason why is because your son, he will get to a certain age where he's looking, like your daughter can relate to her mom. But if there's no male presence in the house, right, he's looking to see, who do I identify with, right?
exactly.
And that's why they come back, like 14 or 16, and start asking questions, because they're trying to figure out, who am I?
Yes.
And they have other questions as well. And that's why when my 3-year-old, when he was 3, when he came to me, I told myself, oh, he's going to come back and he's going to ask more questions.
I better be ready. Yeah.
Right. So I'm prepared and ready to have that conversation with him. But yeah, I just wanted to, just share that, they come back, the boys, because they're looking to find out who they are,
Yes.
and
Yes.
one way how we can help our sons and daughters, but I'm gonna just stick with the sons. One way how we can help our sons to begin to know who they are. I have 2 boys and a girl. I do this with my children. I point out to them, like, what's in them, like what I see in them, right? And I help it. I try to make it real for them. So my 3-year-old, well, he's 8. When he was 3 years old, I call him Mr. Fix It, right? That is his gift. That is, like what I see in him. Whatever his hands touch, he's able to fix it. So I tell him, this is who you are. You're going to grow up and have your own business, right? I speak certain things to him.
That's right. Yeah.
And I also guide him, because there was another time when he turned 5. He brought up his dad name again. And I said, you know what? Let's talk about your heavenly father, right? I had to guide him that way. And so that helps, because the more I'm talking to my children about their heavenly father, the more I'm helping them to understand, despite who left, you're still valuable. You're still gifted. There's still a purpose and a calling for your life. And I'm going to help guide you to that process,
Yes.
So I learned through that process, it really helps when I, highlight who their heavenly father is. And I also point out, the gifts and talents I see in my children.
I love that. I love that you point out that, because that's one of the things that I used to make sure that I always tell my son, no matter what he was doing, always playing with the Lego. Whoa, you're an architect. You can do, because he will take anything and turn it into anything, right? And I always will look at that. Mom, I am going to be a construction worker. No, you're going to be an architect. You're going to be a mechanic. You're going to be I would tell him like that. Now he's actually a mechanical engineer. So it worked out. So I do agree with you. You need to let them know, speak some powerful things into their life. It doesn't matter if you see darkness, or if you see negative things that is happening, that you always have to switch it back to the good things that you see so that they can see that too. So thank you for sharing that. So yeah, that's pretty powerful, especially when you mention about the Heavenly Father, because most people do not connect that. They want something they can feel, they can touch. My friends have this, my cousin have this, so they compare themselves with that, and they want to be able to, see, compare with something that they can see, and when you put it with the Heavenly Father, if they have that connection, yes. But what about those people that don't? They are not believers. Every single mom is not a believer. So how do you get them to talk about this when they really don't have a Heavenly Father?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I've never been asked that, but one way, if they're not a believer, there's other ways how you can help make that connection with your child. You might have a great uncle in your life, or a grandfather, another male role model.
Exactly.
They just need to know, they need to see a positive role model. Because when you think about like when you think about young boys growing up without fathers, they usually turn to, joining gangs,
Mm-hmm.
street, or drugs, right? And
Yes.
that is because they're looking for identity. They're
Yes.
looking for, where do I belong, right?
Yes.
They're looking for that validation. So as moms, our responsibility is to come in and provide that.
Yeah.
We can provide that through our Heavenly Father. We can provide that with positive role models, have them in our
Yeah.
children's lives. One of the things I was doing with my oldest son early on was putting him in football, in like soccer, just allowing him to be around other male coaches, but also other boys, because he
Yes.
needs that energy. He's all up
Yes.
under me all the time.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just want to find different ways on how to just really give that to your child, and just
Yes.
make the connection,
Especially as a single mom, you want to be able to do that, because mine, I had him in every sport that I could. Of course, you had to bring me the grade, but he was in football, in track, in basketball, in everything that he could put in, that I could put him in, and just making sure that I knew who the coaches was, because it's not about just taking your child and placing them with a group of men that you don't know anything about. You need to make sure that you understand who these people are, be around these people, so that you can point out good things about those people to them. If there is qualities in some of those people that you feel, you need to actually not tell them, don't do that, but actually help them identify what is good about it and what is bad about it. And that is something that I was able to do with my son. And that really worked out, because coaches always protected my son, always look out for my son, because they know I was going to come and fight for him. And that's one thing, as a single mom, you better be willing to fight for your kids, stand up for them no matter what, because that's part of their identity too. If you feel, oh, because the boy will be boys, they're going to take care of themselves. No, you better go and fight for them when something happened, and you're going to be the mom and dad at that moment. Whenever the dad show up, whatever happened, but at that moment, you better be there and kick whoever you have to kick, because that's how they're going to learn to have that personality. My son knew that Superwoman was going to show up, and my heart was beating. My heart was like, sometimes I was shout. And because my son is right there, and I'm like, nobody's going to mess with my kid. And I was standing there, and my heart is going, it's hitting, and I'm scared inside. But you will not see fear. I was like a Terminator. And my son believed that. So he stand up to things in that way because I help him believe that. But when I go home, I'm like, I can't believe I did that. That happened to you?
Yeah, I was called the mama bear. I mean, but that's what it is. We have to protect our children. We got to protect our children, and that's where I think that's where that name comes, you're a strong single mother, but we got to be strong. We can't be weak. We have to be strong.
I think about a lot of the stupid stuff that I did. But at the moment, it did not feel stupid. At the moment, it was like, I'm going to stand on whatever it's going to take. I'm going to do it. Yeah. And you're standing right there. And it's like, I hope nobody touch me.
Yeah.
Ladies, that's what you have to do. Later, you will laugh about a lot of things like we are. But at the moment, I'm going to tell you, it can be scary. It can be all that, but you need to think of the big picture. And your kids, they need you. They need you, but they need you to be strong with them and help them to be, because you can't just be strong and overprotecting them. You have to be able to guide them into that strength, but they're going to see it from you. They all want to pay attention to everything that you're doing and everything that you are saying, and you have to be able to live it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's go to the next point of your the absent parent.
Yeah, the next step in having that conversation with your child about their absent father is to prepare yourself for that conversation. So once you have went through that healing process, you want to prepare yourself to have that conversation. So you want to begin to ask yourself a series of questions. Like, we already know they're going to say, where's my dad, right? So go ahead. I like to write down, how will you respond, to your child when they ask you, where's my dad? They might even ask you, why he doesn't want me? Why did he leave? Was it something I done, right? So you want to like come up with a series of questions you think your child might ask you, and then prepare your response so that when it's time to have that conversation with your child, you're ready, you're prepared, and none of their questions are taking you, by surprise.
Yeah. I definitely, I can see that. But how about them asking? I mean, doesn't matter how much we prepare in life, we're never going to be prepared. That's the reality. So, in this part about the preparing, at any point, is it okay to lie to them?
No. And I'm gonna tell you why, because before this situation happened to me, I actually experienced, like, I saw this situation walk out in my family. And this is number 3, give the child the truth, because if you lie and tell your child your father dead or whatever, someone is going to tell your child the truth.
Yes.
And what you don't want to happen is now your child looking at you as someone who lied to them. Now they don't trust you. And with boys, they perceive it as disrespect.
Yes.
And that's where you would find a little boy, well, not a little boy, that's where you find boys.
Yeah.
They call their mother, they will start off calling her mom, but then they start calling her by her name once they found out she lied to them. So you want to always give your child the truth. Just and keep it, just like keep it straight to the facts. You don't have to give them the whole story, but just be honest with them. And after you give them the truth, highlight the people that are in your child's life, so that they don't feel all alone. They don't feel abandoned or rejected. You want to just start highlighting, just because your father is not here, you are still loved, right? Exactly. Mommy is here. You have your sister here. You have your grandparents, your friends, your football team. You want to begin to highlight all these individuals to your children, so that they become aware. They begin to like focus more on who is there versus who left.
Yeah, definitely agree. And one of the things that made it easier for me, and I would say to you ladies, I know that when a man is not in your life, you like to cut everybody off. That is not a good idea. My son's dad was not involved with him or with his parents, and his parents kept up with my son forever. Every birthday, every Christmas, every whatever, he got a card in the mail consistently. And I would send him to see them on summer and all of that. So just because the parent is not there, if you have a connection with somebody, you don't have to cut them off, because that is something that is going to strengthen your child, because he's going to be able to understand, I knew at least this part. I know something, because they're going to keep asking those people about different things, right? So if I have come up with lies that was like extremely severe and all that, he would have found out, because he had all these people around. But even if he didn't have all these people around, people just happen to show up whenever you least expect it. Okay. So I can actually tell you that as a kid myself, my mom was a single mom. I heard things that I should not have heard from strangers, that they should not be telling me that. My mom should have been telling me those things, right? So I can definitely agree with you when you say that, because it is very, very difficult. And I know I said what I said at the beginning, and I'm not going to retract that. If I had to do it again, I will do it again, because it worked out for me, because I knew what I was doing. I knew that there was a period of time, this is what I was going to do, and then we deal with the rest, whatever, because that was what I did best there. You are not me, so don't try this at home. Okay, I would definitely say that. But I knew my reason. I knew who the father was. I knew all of this stuff. And when I wrote things, I wrote it like him. And actually, when he found out that I was writing down those things, he actually he thought it was cool. He said, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I knew who I was dealing with, I knew what it was. He thought that I was just an amazing person, an amazing mom, and he didn't need me. I didn't need him. I was going to be very good. And you must have heard that somewhere. Some men actually think that you will do a better job by yourself than with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes. It is just like what Taquila said. You need to find out your truth. You need to find out your healing. You need to find out your past. You need to deal with a lot of the garbage so that you are able to work it with your kids and find out. So with that said, I am saying, I am not taking back what I said. Mm-hmm. I am saying that it is important for you to be truthful to your kid, especially when they have the knowledge of what is going on. That's when you need to be more truthful, because they are connecting the dots. They're connecting everything. And once you lose the trust from them, it is very hard to get it back. Mm-hmm. Very, very hard, because that's always going to be hanging over their head of, well, you lied to me once, so you did this to me. What are you hiding from me again? Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's true. Always get them the truth. And I do encourage, if the father's side of the family that wants to be involved, I encourage that. It helps. It helps heal the child. Some of these absent fathers, they are dealing with their own, issues or whatever.
Yes.
So while they're dealing with theirs, their stuff, still encourage your child, to have a relationship with their side of the family, and just move on. Like, I don't really make my children's father out to be an issue in the house. I only bring him up when the children ask about him.
That's right. That's it. That's it. Other than that, just keep living, keep moving, keep enjoying, keep having fun with your kids, because that's what they're going to remember. They are not, they're going to remember those challenging days that you make it wonderful. That's the days that they're going to remember. And I do remember that there was some times that, man, I could even pay my rent or pay for food or anything like that. And my kids remember that there was some great time then. And I'm thinking, man, I was broke that time. I didn't even have a job that time. I didn't even have a car. And I'm thinking all that in my head, but I made it fun for them. I didn't make it, being a single mom is so hard. Actually, my son never struggled with the fact that he was with a single mom. He's like, my mom is my mom or my dad, and all the kind of stuff. And people always asking him, how is it that you talk different, you don't hate your dad, and you don't talk bad about him and all that? Because I didn't talk bad about him. I didn't curse him out. I didn't do all of that because I know that the best part of life is about healing, it's about forgiveness. And if you cannot forgive, you cannot love. You are not able to do that. And that's one of the things that I had to work on myself first. So as a single mom, you need to work on your ability to forgive. If you hate one person right now, your heart is already messed up. You need to clean that heart, because that you're going to pass it on to your children. They're going to have a hard time because you think that you're teaching them love, but love is not a 50% thing. Love is 100% thing. And when we think that I am loving my kids, but I don't love this one, I hate this person, you are going to give them that attitude that you have, that heart that you have of hate. You're going to give it to them. And I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but I can tell you as a coach, I always telling people, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. Okay. So I am telling you, ladies, forgiveness doesn't mean that what the ex did to you or what the baby dad did to you is acceptable. That's not what it means. It means being free, letting go, and just moving on. That's what it means. It's just there's a weight that taken off your back, and you just take it and throw it off, and it feels so good to be able to walk like this, and for people to talk and not be hateful and not say all men are dogs. Because if you keep saying all men are dogs and you're raising boys and you dating men, that makes you a you know what. Okay. So be careful, ladies. Be careful what you're saying. Be careful the way that you are talking to your kids, especially about their absent father, for sure. Yeah, this was really good. This is really, 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 really good. I really, really, really enjoy that. Like, we can talk about this forever because there is so much in this conversation, you know, to that you can keep stretching it. But I like that the points that you make, because if you want to give people just basic steps, that is really clear what you gave them. So how have this worked out with you in your motivational and your coaching with the women? How have they reacted to this? What have they said with the results?
It's helping them because they were in this space where they kept reaching out to the absent father, only for him to repeatedly reject them and the child. So once I started, share with them, like, listen, okay, this is how you, had this talk, this is how you heal, and I focus a lot on giving single mothers the understanding, because when you understand why he left, when you understand why the breakup happened, it didn't happen to you, it happened for you. When you really understand it, okay, you move into going back to that forgiveness, right? You move into that forgiveness space, you move into, like having a different perspective around the situation, and you're able to move forward. So just with me empowering the single mothers around, like just having this conversation, giving them that understanding they need about the father, it has helped them to stop reaching out, because you have to give that person, the absent father, time and room to deal with whatever he needs to deal with. And when you have really forgiven the father, and when he does comes back, it frees him. This happened in my life. It frees the father because he's coming back with a lot of guilt and shame. about his behavior. But as you are
Yeah,
doing
but
that,
he's not coming back for you. Okay.
that's right. That's true.
Okay, let's clear this, lady. He's
Yeah.
coming back, but stop building all these hopes that when he come back, he's going to think that you're this wonderful mom and all this. And this is not about you.
Yep.
Okay, we are not talking. Well, I just want to have to step in here and
Yes.
clear that. It is not about you, how much love you have for them and all that. This is not about you. If something happened in the future, then fine. But let's cut this out, okay? Because you people just be building hope and building it on your kids and thinking that you guys are going to get back together just because he's interested in the kid later. Okay, take yourself out of it. Okay, I just had to say that because
No, that's good, because
I
that
do
was
call
part of
some people and that's what they do.
yeah, no, that's good, because that's part of the reason why some of the single mothers are reaching out, constantly reaching out, trying to convince him, trying to get him to change his mind, because we hold on to that hope. And I would say this as well. I found, this is just in me, I found when I healed my own father wound, it helped me to let go of that hope of my child's father coming back, and giving me that family I always wanted. It helped me to let go of that, needing him to acknowledge my child, to love my child and accept my child. Once I dealt with me, I freed myself from that situation, and I was able to really move forward. So you're absolutely correct. Let go of all of that hope. Okay, it's not about us. It's about children. And we can't force them to do nothing they don't want to do.
Not anybody. We can't force
Yeah.
anybody. But when I have coached women, that is one of the things that I noticed, because some of the men, they, that I have talked to, because in my life, I can tell you all ladies, I have mostly men friends than women friends. I don't get along very well with women at all. Okay, let's make that clear. So when I actually have talked to guys that are single dad, a lot of them actually stay away because they don't want a relationship with you.
Right.
They would like to have a relationship with the kid, but they don't want a relationship with you. And I was telling some of my friends, I said, but you're just being selfish because you're thinking about yourself and you're not thinking about your kids. Just let it clear. Whatever she feel, just let her deal with it. But you just need to show up and be there for the kid. But it says, when one of you, the man is trying to show up to be able to see the kids, and if you don't do this, you cannot see the kids. And if you don't do, you are setting some rules for them, and you are not thinking about your kids because you're thinking about your feelings. So now you want to act like if you are looking out for the best interest of the kid, but you're just being emotional, and you're just hurt because this man don't want you because maybe he cheated on you. It's good, you have a valid reason for feeling the way that you do. That is the reality. He may have cheated on you, he did wrong things and all that kind of stuff. But if all those things are true, why would you want him back anyway? Why would you want him back to be able to teach that to your kids? Why would you want that? Something that is so messed up, why would you want to show your kids that it's okay? So really, in the reality, just like what Taquila and I were saying, is if you heal, if you take care of you, if you forgive, the rest is going to be fine. You are going to wonder, why did I look at this man? Okay. And then the solution is because you needed to have your kids. If I had to do it all over again, like I said, I would do it all over again and meet the same daddies because I love my kids. And I don't want anybody else's kid, but I want my kids. Not a better good looking man, not a better man, not a more famous, nothing. I will pick the same man because I will want the same kids that I have. And that I can tell you that is the way that it feels me to be able to think back about my past experiences. Because when I look at my kids, I'm just like, it was worth it. It was worth it to go through it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I look, I'm being honest, I wouldn't pick my children's father, but I would want my children. I mean, but that's a good
If
way
you
to
didn't
look at
pick
it.
your children father, you cannot have your
I know.
children. It will not happen. I can tell you that much. It will not happen. They will not look like your kids. They will not be your kids. They will be
I
somebody
know.
else.
I know. That's a great way for you to look
Yeah.
at it. I haven't arrived to that level yet.
Well, I have, and it was a hard journey, but with my God that I've served, that I believe in, and the things that He have shown me, I saw that, and I am very grateful. And when you're going through a hard time and you think of, would I go through all this again if I had to? And when I look at my kids during those hard times, and I go, oh yeah, I will go through it all over again just to experience them again. That is just me personally. And I can say that because it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. So I can say that. It made me who I am today. It made me stronger. And that's the reason why you and I are able to tell stories and help other people, because without our stories, we will be nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So ladies, be ready to tell your story. Be ready to embrace who you are, no matter if the people accept it or not. I can say it again. Screw everybody that doesn't accept you. But you need to accept you. You need to embrace your past, no matter how ugly it was, no matter how your kid came, if it was from the, rape, if it was from unwanted, whatever the situation, it doesn't matter. That is your child. Okay, that is your blessing. That is your gift, and you better embrace it and do everything that you can to be able to the best that you can be for that child. Okay, and I am not saying love yourself, love them more than you, because that does not work out. I can tell you that much. You need to learn to love you, because you cannot teach what you don't know. And a lot of women fall into that. That's why they fall into the wrong men, because you are trying to teach your kids something that you have no knowledge about. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love you so much or whatever. No, no, no. You're just loving them because you are needy, and you think that when you're going to love your kids, they're going to give you back. And when they don't give you back, you are destroyed and grateful bastards, because you really never loved them. You just was needy. Okay. So I'm telling you, work on yourself so that when the next man come, if the actual next man come, you will be ready. You will be healed. Just like Taquila said, heal. The first thing she said was heal. But you have to prepare yourself to be able to have this conversation and tell the truth. Okay. And I repeat again, you don't have to be me. I am me, and I take full responsibility for being me, but everybody is not me. Okay. Everybody doesn't do things the my way, and that's okay. You need to figure out what is your way and make sure that is beneficial for your kids. Make sure that it's going to work for you, because no matter what you do, you're going to be accountable later. You're going to have to be accountable, and your kids, to yourself, and to, we will have to give accountability, right?
Absolutely correct. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So, Taquila, so there's anything else that you want to share before we close this?
Yeah, just know that, this is a tough situation, most single mothers are dealing with, but as you do the work, you do that inner healing work, prepare yourself and just keep yourself ready. You will overcome the situation. This is not like the end of your life. It's only a chapter in your book, right?
That's
Turn the
right.
page, write a new chapter, go through that healing process, make sure you are preparing yourself, and just stay truthful to yourself and to your children. And you're going to be on that road to, creating that better life for you and your children. Yeah.
Yep. I totally agree. So where do they follow you?
Oh, you can follow me over right here on YouTube, Taquila Coleman. You can head over to my website, taquilacoleman.com, and I'm everywhere on social media at Taquila Coleman.
Okay. So I am going to go ahead and put her link, Instagram um, link at the bottom of this video so that when you go, you will be able to find out more about her. And as I said before, if you want to be able to tell your story or share a lesson learned, then go ahead and send me an email to info@singlemom.today. Again, info@singlemom.today. And thank you for putting up with me. You guys know that I talk a lot. I know that I talk a lot. And guess what? I am very comfortable with that. So I hope that you learn to be comfortable with yourself, no matter how people feel about it. And that is the most important trophy in your life, is being comfortable with you.